May 10th, 2021 meeting of the Westfield Parks and Recreation Commission. I'm going to do a quick roll call. Ken McGarrian. Ken is motioning here. Sarah Unger.
Yes.
Jane DeBarbieri. There's Jane. I saw her earlier.
Jane's muted. There she goes.
I am.
There she is. She's here.
Hello, everyone.
Thanks, Jane.
Jesus.
Benny Olinsky.
Yes, here.
Bob Bernesi.
Here.
I saw him too. Yep. Mike Terrell is here. Doug Morash.
Here.
And Scott LeBombard. Haven't seen him yet. All right. Scott is not here. He might be late. Okay. First order of business. Approval of minutes from April 12th, 2021. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at them? Can I get a motion to approve and then we can discuss if needed?
So moved. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Ken McGarrian and seconded by Bob Bernesi. Any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, we'll do a quick roll on this. Ken McGarrian,
Yes.
Sarah Unger,
Yes.
Jane DeBarbieri,
Yes.
Benny Olinsky,
Yes.
Bob Bernesi,
Yes.
Mike Terrell is a yes, Doug Morash.
Yes.
Thank you. Public participation. Anybody not currently on the business or items for discussion have anything that they would like to volunteer for public participation today?
I would like to publicly participate, if I may.
Hi, Tina. Yeah, can you just state your name?
Sure.
And what organization you're representing, if any?
Sure. My name is Tina Gorman, and I'm the Executive Director of the Westfield Council on Aging / Senior Center.
Okay, thanks, Tina. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I have a written statement if that's okay.
That's perfectly fine.
Good. Older adults face a myriad of challenging issues in areas such as physical and mental health, finances, housing, and caregiving. These problems are generally magnified for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender adults age 60 and older. A lifetime of discrimination, the lack of a support system, and remaining fully or partially in the closet prohibits many from accessing services and programs that would foster independence, interconnectedness, and valued aging. In June of 2017, the staff at Westfield's Council on Aging began an educational journey that has led to a greater understanding and appreciation of the obstacles that LGBT older adults face. In partnership with Westfield State University, the staff and board of directors participated in several trainings. Last year, just weeks before the COVID shutdown, we held a first of its kind breakfast open house at the Senior Center for those in the LGBTQ community and their allies. The event was well attended. The pride flag was visible on the great room stage so that everyone in attendance could confidently spread the word that Westfield takes care of its seniors, all of them. In order for the Council on Aging to provide services, programs, and activities for Westfield's older LGBTQ individuals and couples, we have to know who they are. The more visible the pride flag is throughout the city, the more likely that our seniors, all of them, will know that they are accepted and that assistance is readily available. It is said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. I would argue that a flag can be just as powerful. Please seriously consider the request to fly the pride flag on the green throughout the month of June. Thank you.
Thanks, Tina. Anybody else would like to participate for a public participation?
Frank Sposito here.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, I believe you folks received an email from Peggy showing the picture of the banner that
Yeah,
I'd like
Frank,
to see.
Frank, I have you actually on the agenda.
Okay, I'll wait.
So I'll call your name when that item comes
Thank
up.
you.
Yeah, no worries. Anybody else? Nick Morganelli.
Thank you very much,
Hi,
Mr.
good
Chairman.
night.
Nick Morganelli, 34 Prospect Street, Westfield. I just wanted to let the commission know that, you know, the Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs in Massachusetts was about 10 days behind the governor's update on the COVID rules for outdoor sports, youth sports, and it's called, it's under the section Youth Sports and Outdoor Activities. So I had emailed them after the governor's announcement on April 30th. I had emailed them and I got a response right away, which was very nice. I was talking with Joe Rouse in the health department as well. And because there was really no reason for mask wearing when you're out on a baseball field, standing there in center field. Scientifically, there's just no reason for it. So the office did update, as they had told me they would by May 10th, their protocols, their safety protocols, and it now includes moderate risk sports, which are sports where you may come in close contact with someone for a brief period of time. So it does include baseball and softball, which we are in that season now in Westfield. So I just wanted to let the commission know that I'm, from what I read, the mask wearing at baseball and softball games can now be, the mask can be taken off for the kids out there playing, and anyone that's remaining socially distant. At least that's what it says. You can read about it on the mass.gov the Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs website. They have the COVID update on there. And I just wanted to let you know that as a citizen, as watching my son out there on the baseball field wearing his mask and the other players wearing the mask, even after the governor lifted the mandate, I was really upset about that because the kids just need to be out there and play. You know, they just need to get out there and play without a mask on.
Nick, do you know? Do you know if
they replied right away? I just wanted to inform you of that.
Do you know if that's in line with the MIAA guidelines, Nick?
It is not.
Yeah, because I know MIAA has their own set of guidelines, which was sent over by the athletic director. So for any games that are MIAA games, so high school games, we just need to make sure that the MIAA guideline is being.
But from what I was told, that's they look to the youth and sports activities standard from the Department of Energy and Environmental Affairs. So I imagine the MIAA will follow along with this update today and move forward with that. But that's a good point. I thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'll be checking that out in the coming days this week to see if MIAA has indeed updated their safety standards as well.
Michael, I can tell you right now, they have not. We had games starting last Thursday and including today, and they require masks for everybody, including umpires and coaches and everything else.
Yeah, the update just came out today.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see an update here over the next few days. I agree. I think I was at the game last week. Tough to see the everybody out there in masks. Obviously we're following the rules. That's what we're supposed to do. But yeah, no, appreciate the input from everybody on that. Anybody else for public participation? Chris.
Hi, so my name is Chris Clark. I had received, I'd sent you an email about someone sending their public comment. I don't know if you want me to read their comment into the record, but I have my own separate comment that I want to give.
You know what? It's basically like a 3-minute thing, so you're free to use that time however you choose.
Okay, then for the sake of time, I'll just read my written comment. Sure. So my name is Chris Clark, a lifelong resident of Westfield, Massachusetts. And I'm here to talk to you today about the themes of LGBTQIA+ community members in Westfield. And that is an umbrella term to describe individuals who identify as something other than straight, which includes lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, and plenty of other identities. People who identify under the LGBT+ umbrella, this term is rising in the United States and is likely for many reasons. And one such reason is the uptake in self-identification of millennials and Gen Zers. News from the Gallup polls estimates that approximately 15%, or about 1 in every 6 adults who are between the ages of 18 and 23, identify as LGBT+, which is something as other than heterosexual. And as somebody who identifies under the same group, I've experienced firsthand the impacts that a lack of knowledge and visibility does to a person in our community. I was outed in high school, meaning that someone other than myself disclosed my sexual orientation. I was in constant fear of my personal safety and well-being as I received homophobic mistreatment from classmates and teachers. And throughout the entire time I was in school, including from people who now identify as LGBT+. During this period of my life, I considered that the only options I had to escape rejection from my community and family were either to run away or, even worse, commit suicide. It has come to my realization that LGBT+ issues are not only a matter of collective societal acceptance, but also an urgent public health crisis. In fact, I'm not alone in my experience as a young LGBT person, and according to the CDC, suicide is the second leading cause of death among people between the ages of 10 and 24. The CDC also released a report last year that found statistically significant increases in the experience of violence, victimization, and suicide risk for those who identify as lesbian. Lesbian, gay, and bisexual youth are almost 5 times as likely to have attempted suicide. Familial rejection of young lesbian, gay, or bisexual persons' sexual identity also dramatically increases the risk of suicide when there is a rejection from the family. For those who identify as transgender, 40% of them have reported having made suicide attempts, and more than 90% of those attempts happened before the age of 25. I know that having graduated from high school in the last 5 years, the mistreatment of LGBT youth, especially in our community, is still happening. And if it wasn't for the support of allies and staff in the Westfield public school system, I likely wouldn't be here today reading you this statement. It has taken years of my life to heal from this painful experience and put my own internalized homophobia to rest. And I'm happy to say that I've achieved personal acceptance for who I am and live every day as my authentic self. Pride for Westfield's ability to adapt to a Westfield that says, we see you, we love you, and that you are welcome here. A heightened visibility of the LGBT community will help protect children from the onslaught of bullying that can happen to LGBT youth. The Parks and Recreation Department can help strengthen our community and help raise the understanding of the LGBT experience. This pride flag raising could help save a young person's life. The struggle for acceptance is a daily task with the burden vested on those who identify as the other. I ask that members of the Parks and Recreation Committee open their hearts to consider the priceless benefits that raising a pride flag in Westfield would have on the developing youth in our community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chris. Anybody else for public participation? Katie Weglars.
Hi, everyone. I just want to take a moment to speak in support of raising the pride flag on the green as well. I'm actually new here in Westfield. I've only been here for about a year now. And seeing pride flags flown around Westfield was part of what helped myself and my family make the decision to settle here in Westfield, because we do have family members that are part of the LGBTQIA community, and acceptance is very, very important to us. And so I would just like to kind of throw my support behind, it's important, I think, for the city, when you're welcoming new people to the city, to recognize how much making a statement that Westfield is open and welcoming is important to everyone.
Thank you. Anybody else for public participation this afternoon, this evening? Yes, go ahead, Kelsey. You just state your name.
Hi, Kelsey Emmett, and I recently moved to Westfield at the start of the year, and I am speaking in favor of the of the Westfield Pride Alliance flag raising for the LGBT plus flag. Like I said, I'm new to Westfield, and when moving here and deciding where in Massachusetts to move. I do have some friends who live nearby, and they were saying that Westfield was a place that was a growing college town that had plenty of other young people who are queer and LGBT. So being able to see a flag raised to represent such a vast minority of people, it means a lot to me as someone who is in the LGBT spectrum, and like knowing how that would have affected me as a youth. So having that symbol up for a whole month can show a lot of kids who are in the closet or who are too afraid to come forward that it's okay, and that there are people in this town that do support them.
Thank you, Kelsey. Anybody else for public participation today? Kathy Bradford?
Yes, hi, I'm Kathy Bradford, and I've lived in Westfield for almost 40 years. And my entire career was in the city of Westfield, and my advocacy for support and growth of the LGBTQIA community is great. I support the raising of the flag for a month on the green because it sends a message about our community. It sends a message to the people who are older, as Tina said, who may not feel like they have a place where they can connect. As someone who is involved with the Westfield Pride Alliance, for us it is about creating connections, networking, support. When you think about the statistics that Chris shared, 2 out of 5 youth between the age of 13 and 24 have considered suicide because they are another. Okay, and so for us as the keepers of the city, you know, you as Park and Rec and us as older people who have been here, it's important for us to include all members of the community. And so by waving the flag for a year, we might open that up to start waving the flags of the other representatives in our community as well. The other folks that create the tapestry of what Westfield is. And for me, being a part of that tapestry has been truly a blessing in my life. I believe that Westfield is a great city. And I think that sending the message that people are welcome and that love is love and that you can be here and be happy is one of the best things we can do. So I ask please to consider flying the flag for a month on the green. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Anybody else for public participation? Yes, sir. Go ahead. Can you
Hi,
just state your name for the record?
I will gladly. I'm Dennis Akins. I'm on Granville Road. I'm a lifelong, I was raised in Westfield. I'm a lifelong resident of Westfield, except for the years I worked out of the city. I chose to come back to Westfield because I always believed in my heart it was a very accepting place to live. And after 21 years of being back in Westfield, I know it is an accepting place to live. I grew up in Westfield in a city that I didn't feel I belonged in. And it was a very difficult life for me as a child and as a young adolescent. However, after graduating from St. Mary's High School, I went on to college, and I visited places that were even, I felt, more understanding. I eventually became a teacher and a school administrator in the Gateway District. I went back to get my master's at Springfield College on a fellowship, where I met Theodore DeMoro, who was the mayor of Springfield at that time. He convinced me to stay, and I continued to work for 6 different mayors of Springfield with a variety of titles. For 10 years, I was deputy commissioner for the mayor's office of cultural and community affairs. Springfield, as many people are aware, is a much more diverse community. So it was very easy for me at the age of 27 in Springfield to start living my life authentically. But I came back to Westfield specifically to live my life authentically. And I couldn't be more grateful to the people in Westfield as they opened me, they welcomed me with open arms. Some of those people are right here today. I want to just give the board a quick assessment of what the Westfield Pride Alliance, of which I'm part of, was able to attain last year, to give you some understanding of why we're requesting this. Last year, both with Tina Gorman's attempt, of which I worked with her on, we were able to fly the pride flag at that Westfield Senior Center event. And it was the first time in history that a pride flag was raised by a municipal department in the city of Westfield. That was followed, of course, by the very gracious willingness on the part of our mayor, Don Humison, to allow us to fly the pride flag in June in front of City Hall. It was a monumental moment in my life and in Westfield. As some of you know, Justice John Graney, also a St. Mary's graduate and a long-time Westfield resident, was the one that raised that flag, and it was such an honor. John Graney, along with former Representative Peter Vilas and former Mayor of Springfield, Mary Hurley, the three of them offered to marry my husband and I this past year, but because of COVID, that couldn't happen. But we did get married. We just couldn't have those wonderful three people officiating our wedding. So my husband and I are still proud members of this community, and we're trying to give the message to the 7, 8, and 9, and 10, and 20-year-olds that I was at one time to Westfield, that they are accepted here. And I'm so grateful to be speaking to the board today. And Chairman, I appreciate your willingness to let us speak. Thank you so much. Please fly the flag.
Thank you, Dennis. Anybody else for public participation this evening? Nick, go ahead. I don't know if you get two. I don't know if you get two turns, Nick, but we'll bend the rules for you this time.
Yeah, well, this is just because of the topic on the everybody spoke on the flag raising. I just wanted to mention that, you know, when I saw it on the agenda, I immediately thought, well, what are the rules? What are the city ordinances on flag flying on city property? So I would just say that, you know, this commission needs to look at the city ordinances on flag flying for any specific group that wants to fly a flag in the city. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Anybody else for public participation before we move on? Real quick, and our friend Bob Plass spends a lot of time with us. He sent in a written statement via Christopher Clark. Chris, I don't know if you'd like to just read his statement. I know it was pretty short. If you'd like, I'd like to give you the opportunity to read Bob's statement.
Thank you. Also, I think Kelly Simon had their hand raised, but I don't think their video is on. So if you don't mind calling on them after this, that would be great. But this comment is from Bob Plass. And while he's not able to make tonight's Park and Rec meeting, he wanted to send along a written endorsement to read to the commission, as many of them he considers to be friends and partners in the community. As president of the Westfield on Weekends, or WOW, he has met numerous times over the years with the fine P&C Commission and asks that you convey them his wholehearted support for flying the Progress Pride flag on the town green for Gay Pride Month. As a gay man who struggled his long ago in his youth, he would have benefited from seeing such a validation of his identity as a flag flying that quietly said that he was welcome and a valuable member of the community. He hopes that the commission will approve such a valuable and important act during these times of division. Thank you for letting me read his comment. And I believe Kelly has her hand up too.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, you know, I didn't even see that there was a hand icon there. Kelly, please feel free to speak for 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. I first want to just apologize that I am not on camera right now. I got my second Pfizer shot yesterday and have been under the weather all day. So I am literally in bed, but I am so grateful to be able to join you all and to speak in support of having the Pride Progress flags raised and flown for the month of June in Westfield. I am a teacher in the Westfield schools and am proud to say a teacher of Chris Clark and many others who have joined the call tonight. And I am also the advisor for the Gender and Sexuality Alliance at Westfield High School. And I just want to thank everybody who's spoken tonight, who tells their own stories and shares their own lives through the Westfield Pride Alliance, because of how much inspiration and hope and representation and visibility it gives to the students. On behalf of myself and the GSA advisor at the Westfield Tech Academy, we see so many students who experience, just as Chris was discussing, struggling with their identity and struggling with feeling affirmed and valued in their community. And it's amazing how the smallest thing, even the flying of a flag, how much that can bring feelings of affirmation and feeling valued and seen in their community. And I really appreciate all the efforts that everyone through the Westfield Pride Alliance have made to bring this to this meeting today for the entire month of June. So thank you for everybody to do who's stepped in and who's spoken up. And I really support the flag being flown, especially as well that it's the progress flag. The Pride progress flag is slightly different from the Pride flag. And I want to name that and recognize that it's also showing support and visibility, if you will, or like saying that we see the people of color in our community and the queer or LGBTQ people of color in our community, and that we see their value and their support as well. Thank you for my time.
Thank you. I think we've gotten to everybody. Is there anybody that hasn't spoken that would like to during public participation? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, everybody, for your thoughts. First item on the agenda, Cindy Gaylord, Historical Commission. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Mike.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
You are following up. You were at our last meeting to talk about some additions to the Mechanic Street Cemetery. So would you like to walk us through that here?
Yes, yes. Thanks for inviting me back. Yes, I came on last time. I'm the chair of the Westfield Historical Commission, and we have been researching an interpretive sign for the old burying ground on Mechanic Street. We'd like it to be 3 feet by 4 feet, have the more notable stones on there with a little synopsis of each of the stones, a map in the center, etc. So for people who want to visit the cemetery, they can get the key at the Athenaeum, so anyone can visit at any time. But there's no one there all the time to explain what's going on in there. So just to show a little bit more of visibility in the cemetery, we've come up with a mock-up for it, which is what I think you had requested. I'm not sure how you can see this, but my son's fiance is going to help me hold it up. It looks something like this. We put this out to bid to 3 different companies who make these signs. Is at a 45-degree angle. It's kind of at I call it a tabletop on 2 posts. It will have the different stones around the side with a little text underneath. The map is in the center that shows you where the stones are in the cemetery. And then there's just a little bit of history about the old burying ground as well. So we did put it out to bid. Thank you. They all responded, and the company we'd like to go with is out of Indian Orchard. Very, very well respected company. And we just need your okay to move forward with this. Can I answer any questions at all about it?
Yeah, real quick, Cindy, is there a picture anywhere? So my understanding is, so the poster board that you have behind you is what the physical thing is going to look like.
Yes, right.
As far as the layout and everything. Is
Yeah.
there a picture of what the structure looks like?
The real sign. Well, I can show you pictures of other signs, but for them to make a mock-up for us, we would had to have hired them, and we couldn't hire them until we had the okay. But if you go on their website, it's called DesignWorks, and I have pictures on my phone I can show you too. It's a metal frame with 2 legs on either side. The sign's at a 45-degree angle. I was concerned about the 4 foot by 3 feet, about the pictures at the top, but she showed us the text would be large enough that anyone could read it from any level. And let me see if I did get pictures from their site of other signs that they have posted. So it'd be something along the lines, I'm not sure if you can see that. Is the glare? not letting you see it. Can you get
Yeah,
the idea?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
So it's something like that. There's another one here. They've done some, we went to look at some of their signs and they're very well done, very professionally done. They've been in business for quite a while. So we felt very comfortable with this company. And again, they gave us the best price as well. So we're just excited to get going with this and get it installed. They will cover everything. They manufacture the whole sign. They come and install it for us. So we just need to give them the go ahead. And we also hired Fred Gore to take pictures for us. So we've got the professional photographer coming to take the pictures. These are just my pictures. So the actual pictures will be very professionally done. And yeah, it's kind of an exciting project, but we just needed your permission to go ahead with this.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve? And then we can open it up to discussion. If
Make
there's
a
any.
motion to approve, Vinny.
Second.
Vinny Alinsky and seconded by Bob Bernesi. Any questions or discussion?
I'm dying to answer questions about it, so please ask.
I think you got off easy today. Doug, did you have something? I saw you just popped on.
No, just, I guess, what's the timing again? Or you just, as soon as it gets approved, would it be up like this summer or how long?
Hopefully this summer. Yes. Yeah. We're hoping,
Okay.
well, we have the ghost tours in the fall. So
that's right.
that's our goal, is to have it up by then, but naturally I'd like to have it up before then. It's about a 3-month turnaround from start to finish. So, we're hoping August, September to have it up, and the ghost tours are usually the end of September.
Okay.
If we can have them this year. We couldn't have them last year, but we're hoping, because the proceeds from the ghost tours are really the only funding we have to repair the stones. And we'd love to give any of you a tour. I'm available at any time to give you tours of what we have done in there. We just recently restored a beautiful cast iron fencing around a small family plot, which is just, she did such a good job. We've repaired over, I think, 120 stones now, repaired or cleaned or straightened. In fact, the restorer who came in to do the cast iron fencing complimented us. She said, this is one of the best, well taken care of cemeteries she's seen in the, she covers all of New England. So we're quite proud of that. But it's a lot of volunteers who just give time, and just, this is their passion. And we're very proud to do it. And, it goes back to 1683 is our oldest stone. So there's so much history there.
Great.
Good.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, seeing none, let's go to vote. Ben McGarrion,
Absolutely.
Sarah Unger,
Yes.
Jane DeBarbieri,
Yes.
Vinny Olinsky,
Yes.
Bob Bernesi,
Yes.
Mike Terrell is a yes. Doug Morash.
Yes.
All right, and we still don't have Scott, right? I'll make sure he didn't join. Okay. Motion passes. Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you so much. And we are having a stone clean on Sunday, June 6th. If anyone would like to join us, I know Kathy Hillman's on, and she said she wanted to join us, but we bring all the materials. And if anyone would like to come and learn how to clean stones properly and safely, we'd love the extra help. So thank you
Very good.
again so much.
What time
Thanks, Cindy.
is that?
It's either going to be 1 or 2. I have to verify that, but it will be in the paper, and I'll let Mike know.
All right, good. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you again.
Cindy.
Good night.
Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is Kristen Mello for Westfield Pride Alliance members regarding the flying of the flag on the green. Kristen, I saw you there before. Oh, there she is. I get a lot of faces on here this month. Welcome. Please feel free to talk us through this.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Chair Terrell and commissioners, for your time this evening. Thank you to your amazing Peg, who has been helping us navigate this process. I am someone who asks a lot of questions, and she has been super. So thank you. And thanks to everyone who joined the Zoom tonight and spoke in favor of this idea. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Don't mind my cat, sorry. Before you is a request to raise a 5-foot by 8-foot Progress Pride flag on the Park Square flagpole on the morning of June 1st and lower it on the evening of June 30th. If approved, an additional request has been submitted for a small, informal, non-denominational prayer/meditation to be held with the lowering of the flag in memory of those lost to violence, AIDS, COVID-19, etc. Since you've already heard from several others expressing themselves on this topic, my comments will be brief. Studies have shown that LGBTQ youth are far more likely to experience violence and bullying, suicide attempts, and homelessness compared to their non-LGBTQ identifying peers. LGBTQ youth that do make it grow into LGBTQ young adults, some attending universities like Westfield State. They apply for jobs, they start businesses, they have relationships and families and spend their money purchasing homes, goods, and services and paying taxes. They spend their lives contributing to their communities, and they spend their senior years in them as well. The City of Westfield's website says that Park Square to this day is still the meeting place of the community. The request before you is to allow our community to raise the Progress Pride flag for the month of June in order to show acknowledgement, recognition, and appreciation for the LGBTQ residents that contribute so much to the life of our city. This past year has been so hard on everyone, and especially hard on those who were already marginalized in our society under the best of circumstances before COVID. There are many good reasons to approve this request. Personally, I have helped bring it before you tonight because if you approve it and there are people in our city or others who cannot live as themselves in their current situations, who drive past the green during the month of June, they will know that there are others here in our community just like them who have created a safe, happy, and peaceful life here in the city of Westfield. If seeing that flag could give hope to a potential victim of suicide, our efforts will be well worth it. I ask that you please consider raising the Progress Pride flag on the town green for the month of June with a, if approved, a small ceremony at its lowering in honor of those we have lost. It is different to have it raised on the green than to have it at City Hall. City Hall is the seat of our government, and it is very important for the seat of our government to recognize members of this community, particularly marginalized members of this community, extra marginalized, right? But to have it flown at the seat of our community, where for hundreds and hundreds of years, people have been coming together to, give their animals water, to sell hay and feed, to, make their voices heard, to have pancake breakfasts, to celebrate religious holidays, to, sing on open mic nights and be grateful that we can finally get back together. I ask that you please consider raising this flag at the seat of our community to share with everyone in our community that Westfield is a safe and loving place. Thank you very much for considering it. I am happy to answer any questions, as are the members of Pride Alliance you've already heard from tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen. Commission members, any questions, thoughts, comments for Kristen or for anybody else?
Mike, I think procedurally we should,
Make a motion.
very happy to make it. Make a motion to approve
Yep.
such initially,
Yep.
as far as I'm concerned, for discussion first.
Yep.
There's a lot of things we have to make sure of course.
I just, yeah,
I would like to make a motion to approve this initially for discussion.
I agree, Ken. I was just, didn't know if anybody before they made a motion or seconded it wanted to ask a couple of questions before they did that, but appreciate the motion.
That's
Motion by Ken McGarry. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jane DeBarbieri. Okay, any questions, comments, concerns for any of the Alliance members on
right now, as Councilor Morganelli aptly pointed out, which we knew anyway, where are we as far as, and I can't recall, even though that I've been here for like 100 years, what the policies and procedures are for banners and signs and flags. I don't know what that is right offhand. Certainly, two city departments, departments, senior center and city hall have displayed this flag. So I don't know what that means, but I just want to make sure in our domain, in our policies of what we're doing and what we approve. And I don't know what that is right offhand.
I have a question, Mike.
Yeah. One quick second, Bob. I want to just address Ken's comment. So I have been through the city charter. I'm not able to locate anything specific about what can and cannot be flown on city property. There are some restrictions in terms of what looks like residential flags, and there is an American Legion. There is a section for installation of metallic flag sockets, but I'm not able to find anything specific regarding restrictions on that. Nick, do you have a specific section that you're able to cite regarding that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I wanted to say thank you for allowing me to speak twice in public participation. The only thing I found was the size of the flag to be flown is as a 3x5, which is in section 16-142.
Yeah, I saw that.
But I do want to mention that the Childhood Cancer Awareness Month is in September, and this commission denied flying the flag with the gold ribbon on it a few years back. It's like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and this commission denied that. So I think really you need to maybe take a step back and set some rules for what you allow and what you don't allow. If you're going to allow everything, then you need to allow everything. But you can't say yes to one group and no to another group. And you know, everything has to be fair. And again, probably our city ordinances need to be revamped, because I, as you, Mr. Chairman, found a lack of flag specifications on our city ordinances, and that's not good. I mean, we have very specific ordinances for signs, not only campaign signs for how big they can be and where they can be and how long they can be there, but any sign, a business sign, anything at all that you want to put on your lawn or on the front of your house. There are a lot of ordinances or specifics on that ordinance, but the flag, I don't see a lot here, which is somewhat disturbing to me that we don't have anything in place, for that. There should be, because obviously no flag should fly higher than the American flag, and or be larger than the American flag, and that kind of thing. I mean, I think those ordinances exist on a state and federal level as well. But so that's all I have for you. I just found the size, and that's it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, a couple of my questions were going to be, if nobody else asked them, was more procedural, I think, than anything else. But obviously, the flag, and I don't know offhand the size of the American flag that flies on the green right now, but the flag clearly cannot be any larger than the American flag, and it must fly below it. Kristen, go ahead.
Thank you. I can help answer some of this if PEG is a resource that we can use. I have asked these questions to her. First of all, the American flag is 10x16. The Massachusetts flag is, I think it's 6x10, which is why the size of our flag was chosen to be smaller than both of the others. I also asked if anyone had ever flown a flag on the green before, and no other groups have requested a flag at Park Square. However, they have had banners at the day of events, and banners come down by evening in order to avoid vandalism, because they can be reached. Also, with respect to precedent, the only information that we did find was the banners that are up in memoriam over at Parker, the Memorial Parker Park. There are banners for Vietnam vets up there with their faces, and those have been up for quite a while. They went up a couple of years ago, and I believe they're still up.
Okay, thank you.
So that's the information on those questions that you've asked so far.
Thank you.
I can
With
forward you
respect-
that email if you'd like.
That's fine. Yeah, thank you. Please do. With respect to the request that Mr. Morganelli mentioned that had been denied, that unfortunately seems like it's been before my time on the commission. Does anybody that was on the commission during that period of time recall that particular request or any of the
Yes.
particulars of it?
It was rejected
And why was it rejected?
because of the size.
Because of the size?
I don't recall that necessarily being a flag, but at the time there was requests to put ribbons on all the trees. There was definitely other things that were asked to be posted on the green at that time. I'd have to go back to look at the exact specifics, but I definitely don't remember anything about a flag. It was more other signage and ribbons being posted around the green.
Sarah's right. I don't think it was a flag either.
So what do we tell somebody that we are not in agreement with when they want to fly a flag there?
Good point.
Yep.
That would be my only hesitation. If we allow one, we have to allow all, and it doesn't matter whether we agree with their cause or not. We would have to allow it if we allow this. That's my only hesitation.
I don't know if I agree with that statement. I mean, I understand in general, equal, every request has to be considered equally. But certainly if somebody came through with a cause that was, had any legal ramifications or was I don't know, I can't think of an example off the top of my head as I'm sitting here trying to do it, but it was something that was illegal, something that was detrimental to society, something in that realm. I still think this commission has the ability to make the decision between about those things. I understand the precedent piece of it. But yeah, no, understood that we generally try to keep, particularly with banners, consistent in not allowing banners to be flown outside of the day of the event.
But that doesn't help us with the flag, and the request is for a month.
Understood.
And not a day.
Yeah.
Understood.
So Mike or anyone on the call.
As far as I'm concerned, if we knew future requests would not come our way, that we'd have a real problem, subjectively, objectively, yes or no, this would be easy, but no one knows what's going to happen tomorrow or what group from wherever. And that's my only reservation. But that doesn't mean that because we allow A, that we can't say B, we're not going to allow this. I don't know.
I have a statement to make. How about if breast cancer awareness comes to us? We want to put a flag up. How about prostate cancer awareness, mental health, suicide prevention, organ donors? Those are all good signs or flags that they want to fly them. What are we going to say to them?
Also, the other one I question is whether there's going to be a pro and anti-abortion flag going up.
Oh boy,
that's a good one, Vin.
Oh.
And I believe that has been requested in the past, and we did deny it. I don't know.
I don't,
It wasn't a
I don't
flag.
think it wasn't a flag.
It's a banner.
It wasn't a flag. It was a banner.
Where is this flag going to be on the main pole? The other, I mean, I'm not sure where exactly it's going to be on. Is it going to be on the pole that the American flag is on? Kristen, do you know that?
It would be on any poll you approve.
Oh, all right.
It would be where you say it's okay.
I believe there's only one pole down there. Is there
There are
not?
2 on the green.
There's 2 on the green.
I
Okay.
thought so. I thought so.
So does anyone know when the city last year flew the flag, wouldn't they have the same kind of challenge that any other group could come to the city as well? And if they have the right's probably the wrong word, but if down in the future, if something comes up that the city didn't think was appropriate, I mean, I guess what guidelines did City Hall follow? Is there something we can look to see how that was approved last year?
I'm happy to follow up with the mayor on that request. But yes, I agree. That's city property as well, right?
Right.
Good
So I mean, they
point,
would
Doug.
have this same future potential challenges if something was requested that was maybe not, yeah, I don't know how to say the right words, but you know what I mean.
A good point, Doug.
I'm happy to reach out to the mayor and get clarification on the if there's a specific go ahead, Kristen.
Michelle Moriarty was the one who ran point on that for the mayor's office, so I'm sure she can tell you everything.
That unfortunately doesn't help us tonight because this is a request for the month of June. So to check on that and come back, we would have to have a special meeting set up between now and June in order to approve that.
We could do that.
We could do a special meeting for that. We could conditionally approve the motion, I guess, with the understanding that we're going to do a follow-up with City Hall regarding the ability to fly and the guidelines under which the flags are being flown at City Hall. I think those are our 2 options.
Well, when you contact the mayor, are you going to mention all these other groups that might come forward?
I will
Well,
mention.
there have been other groups that have flown at the city hall as well. I mean, they've done.
Prisoners of war.
Yep.
I mean, I think it would all depend on who comes and asks for that. I mean, I don't think we can control who asks us to fly a flag. I think we have to look at what the ruling has been for City Hall. How did they determine who was okay to fly a flag and who wasn't? And I think that if we went with whatever City Hall determined was appropriate, that we would be under the same guideline.
I saw the Puerto Rican flag flying at City Hall.
Yeah.
As city property, I believe that both City Hall and any park land would fall under the same ordinances. I do not, unfortunately, know what the ordinance is that City Hall is following or what guidelines they're following, but I'm happy to follow up. The only issue that we need to take into account is the time sensitivity of this. So if the commission is willing to meet again in a week, let's say, for a brief conversation and to take a vote on this, I'm happy to follow up and just make sure that all of our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed. But outside of that, the only other option would be to put it to vote of the commission and see if it passes or not, pending.
Mr. Chairman, may I say something?
Sure, Dennis, go ahead.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Very quickly, in Springfield, where I worked for so many mayors, the policy has always been, if it's a group of your constituents in your city, they would consider flying flags, but they would not fly flags for any cause or organization. It has to represent a group of the people in your city. That's why we often see the flag of Puerto Rican citizens, cultural flags, things of that nature. If that's any help, and I certainly understand everything you're saying, all of you, and I appreciate it, any consideration you give.
Yeah, and I think that, for all the folks here and anybody watching at home, I don't think, and I can't speak for anybody here, but I just, for myself, I have absolutely no objection to the flying of this flag at the green. I think that the responsibility of the commission is just to make sure that we are
Absolutely.
following every guideline and every sort of aspect of the city charter and ordinances that we can.
And that's appreciated, Chairman. Thank you.
So Mike, given that, should we do the conditional vote like you suggested? Or just how do you want to take a vote on this?
Need to decide that, obviously. And if we do conditional, I have some wording here that you all might like.
Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, I didn't want to step on Mr. Majarian. But
You would
I
never,
just had
Nick.
just a quick comment. So the size was the only thing I could, like I said, I could find. And then I know that the commission has denied, certain banners or signage on the green other than what I've always, this is my third time, I think, as liaison over the course of the years, maybe fourth to this commission. And it seems like whenever a group wants to have a sign or a display or something on the green, it's for the day of the event. I cannot recall ever since 2007, when I first got elected, that there was a 1 month flying of a banner, a flag or sign or anything on public property. So maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but so as a city councilor, what I see as a problem is either the size of the flag or the length of time that the display is being flown for. And of course, equality for every group that wants to come in. I think Mr. Majarian eloquently talked about that prior to this earlier tonight. Thank you.
Understood. Ken, would you like to discuss your potential wording for the motion?
Right. And what I would say is something to the effect to make a motion to approve such. A, this is not precedent setting. B, approval of any type of flags would be on a case-by-case basis.
I agree with that. I'm not sure how it cannot be precedent setting, right?
I'm sure it could be. So why not? It depends the way you want to look at it.
I think it's precedent setting.
I think the act itself is precedent setting, right? I don't think there's a way to say we're going to do this, but we're not going to set precedent by doing so. I think the act of doing it is precedent setting. Go ahead, Nick.
Again, this is why we have ordinances and why this commission sets rules, and you have rules for events that you have and signs and that kind of thing. So again, I refer back to ordinances and rules because you are setting a precedent. It absolutely does. And you can't just take case by case. That's why we have ordinances and rules.
Then I'd be scared then. I'd be very scared that any organization within the city, a group, 2 people, how many people do you have to have? That everybody in the world would be against it. And we'd have to put the flag up? Sorry, I don't agree.
why don't I do this? And Peter, I don't know if you're able to tell what openings there are over the next 2 weeks for a follow-up meeting. But I would feel much more comfortable if I had a chance to talk to the mayor about what rules City Hall follows regarding flying of flags. I'm sorry that I didn't do that before this call.
Mr. Chairman, right
yes, go
now, Monday the 24th is open at 6 p.m. before Natural Resources at 7.
6 p.m.
Yeah, Monday the 24th.
And the Natural Resources Chair is willing to push half an hour if you need more time. Just saying.
I'm guessing you know that the chair.
I know her mind very well.
Yeah. So I think that's the approach I'd like to take for the folks on the call. Hopefully, you understand that I personally am in full support of the flying of this flag as presented. But as I mentioned earlier, I think we just need to make sure before the commission, at least myself, and if anybody else is comfortable voting on it tonight, I'm happy to hear that conversation, that argument. But I feel like I would feel better if I had a chance to talk to the folks at City Hall and come back here potentially on the 24th to vote on this once that conversation has been able to be had.
Yeah, I like that too. I'm in support, but I do want to kind of double check, cross the T's, dot the I's. So I would be willing to do a meeting on the 24th at 6 just to kind of, look through everything and make sure we're I think it will be precedent setting, as we've all talked about. So it'd be nice to just be very, very thorough before we do a vote, I think personally.
Anybody else on the commission?
I would agree with that. Do we need a motion to do that?
What we would do is we would need a motion to table to a follow-up meeting later in the month before the month of June, basically before June 1st, because that's the date of the raising of the flag.
Why is it have to be June? What about July? Is there a specific month of June that means more to somebody? And
June is
Go ahead,
Pride Month.
Kristen.
June is Pride Month across the nation, not just here.
Okay.
It's worldwide.
Worldwide, yeah.
Kristen, is there anything timing wise that us having a meeting on the 24th to finalize this would affect in terms of your planning or anything?
Only in terms of postponing the outreach for a while, but people have waited a long time. They're going to wait 2 more weeks. It's okay. We will adjust. We've waited a very long time, so a couple more weeks won't hurt.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for taking the time. We certainly wouldn't want a yes tonight only to find out it's a no next week. So I appreciate you guys, taking your time with this and considering it carefully. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you. That having been said, is there a motion to table this pending?
Table.
Made by Ken McGarrian and seconded by, who was that? Doug?
I think Bob
Vernesi?
said it too. Yeah.
Okay. Second by Bob Vernesi. Any additional discussion? Okay. Seeing none. Ken McGarrian,
Yes.
Sarah Unger,
Yes.
Jane DeBarbieri,
Yes.
Vinny Alinsky,
Yes.
Bob Vernesi,
yes.
Mike Terrell is a yes. Doug Morash.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you everybody very much for your comments tonight. We certainly hear everything that you're saying, support your cause, and let us just make sure that we are acting as we need to be based on city ordinances. And
That's completely understood. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next item up for conversation is tree art. And also Madeline Calabrese, who's the curator of the Harold Grinspoon sculptures, and Cheryl Crow. I'm gonna lump these next two items together because they are both related to one another. We met. The subcommittee had a sort of a last minute meeting. So we had a little bit of back and forth over the past couple of weeks in terms of whether or not, from a city standpoint, we were able to do go with an in-ground sculpture over at Gateway Park. That's the park that's right across the street from the Westwood, and right across from where the 9/11 monument is on the north side of town. We were originally proposed to put a freedom sculpture in a very similar configuration to what the first piece of Mr. Grinspoon's art is over on the south side of the bridge at Kane and would you know it's Park. I don't know if I got that right, but we got some communications that the freestanding was not going to be a possibility for this particular sculpture. So the idea was that we were going to go and take a look at the area and see about the potential for putting an in-ground sculpture there. We had a scheduled meeting this past Friday to go do that. I know Doug had mentioned earlier that he was not going to be able to make it. And we had some confusion in terms of location, and Jane was not able to make it before we completed the site visit. So it was myself, Cheryl, and Scott Hathaway that met there to view that area. I was had originally planned to go out on Sunday to Agawam to take a look at one of the in-ground sculptures. I was not able to do that because when I made that statement, I neglected to remember that it was Mother's Day on Sunday. So apologize, Madeline, that I did not get a chance to call you and meet you over there. But I have seen Mr. Grinspoon's art over there. I have seen the in the ground installations. So I am familiar with the fact that it's a very clean install. One of my concerns was that I learned during the site visit that there is in fact underground irrigation through that area, and we know where the heads are. We don't necessarily know where the pipes are. So a little bit of concern in terms of that becoming a larger project. So I don't know if Madeline, if you want to talk just for a couple of seconds about the decision not to be able to go with a freestanding and the requirement to do in the ground if we want to do it before the fall.
Okay. This is connected with something that's grown, and Cheryl can speak to that. So since the conversation about a second sculpture in the planter, there's been an opportunity at Westfield State and possibly Mestech, and possibly coming off of Mass Pike, the redevelopment area. So some or all of those could come to pass, and that would mean quite a few sculptures into West. So that plays into the decision of putting a second one or answering the request from the Parks Rec group. Initially, Mr. Grinspoon only has a handful of sculptures that are made to be above ground, that have their own built-in platform that could easily just be set into the planter. Unfortunately, those don't have a serious tone that matches the 9/11. So we wouldn't want to put something glitzy or bright or frivolous or fun in comparison to the 9/11 memorial. There is one sculpture that has a freedom theme. It has flag motifs on it. And it's a single piece with some arrangement around the base, but it's an in-ground one. And for Mr. Grinspoon to reassemble it into an above ground is an additional cost on top of the cost of moving it and installing it. So that's why he was hesitant and why he asked if there was the possibility of an in-ground installation. So I guess that is all still open. This particular sculpture, we've improved on our in-ground installation abilities. So when that one was first set up, we had probably a 2.5 foot square box installed. Now we've been using tubes actually, and we have a drill that drills like a 12 or 16-inch hole. And then the tube goes in and the piece of sculpture goes in. So it's less invasive into your territory. Then the surrounding pieces that are around it are just mounted on rods that can easily be put into the ground. So the install may be easier and may not interrupt the watering system. You know, if we could do some testing somehow with, you know, just inserting rods or something to know if we're missing the pipes. So I'm not saying that's out, but it's just a consideration with these other opportunities happening in Westfield. He has to be concerned about, you know, the amount of cost to him to putting up all of these. And one of his criteria is large viewership, you know, and this location, as well as all of the other locations, are on main thoroughfares and offer a lot of high viewership. So if, you know, if those other opportunities hadn't come up, I'd be all over trying to make this happen. Now I just have to be a little bit more cautious and see how the other ones develop as well. Who did you speak with when you went over there for the tour? Who did you speak with about the installation when you went over to see the sculptures?
Nobody.
Oh, you didn't
Nobody.
go? I thought you said you went.
I've seen them. I have been over there. I didn't go over to view specifically the Freedom one this past weekend, but I've seen them. But I walked around on my own. I didn't. I didn't have anybody there.
Okay. So I can go back and discuss, you know, a simpler install for that one because we have improved, and you know, I can take a new read on whether he's willing to move forward with that one while the other ones are still percolating.
Do we have a feel for the timing on the proposed sculptures for Westfield State, for Meztec, and for, I believe it's the jug handle potentially as part of the new construction up there?
I can answer that. Madeline, you want me to take over?
No, yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Westfield State is definitely very much interested. I will be most likely touching base in a couple of weeks because right now they're working with a commencement as well as they have a new president that will be coming in. So they have a little bit on their plate, but they're very, very excited for Grinspoon. I've not heard anything back. I've reached out several times to Meztec. So right now I'm just kind of like, if they really want it, they'll get back with me. The jug handle, that could be 2 years down the road from here because of the fact that they really can't do a lot of construction until I believe the Friendly's contract is up, and it's going to take a while before that fills in. I do have somebody that knows Mr. Boldak that owns all that property, so we're looking a couple of years down the road for that. So that answers those questions. Like Madeline said, when her and I talked last week, is the fact that we don't want to oversaturate. But my idea was placing it strategically in Westfield, so it looks balanced and it's not overly crowded. You've got one that's going to be up in Westfield State that's way up, on the other end, and then we can bounce off the others. My idea was coming out with the jug handles. That's the first thing that people will see when they come in. It's a great, wonderful entrance into Westfield, and it shows that the arts is alive in Westfield, as well as giving us a little bit of a flavor of who we are. So in that perspective, what I did say, Madeline, is anybody, well, actually, before I say that, can you tell me down in West Springfield, when you have those, the three pieces that's down there, when they're in there, are those put in with tubes? Because it's very clean how it's put in.
They aren't in tubes. We weren't doing tubes then, but it is a clean install because it's flush with the ground, so nobody sees that there's any installation.
So are those like rods that went in there? Because I'm just curious of how those were put in.
No, the sculpture's actually long enough that they're in the ground 4 feet.
Okay, all right, because it is very, very clean. And I did mention to Mike that if you really wanted to go and see it right up front, it's right there. Go down and look at it. It's super, super clean. You don't see a lot of disruption within.
Yeah, I don't think clean is, yeah, I'm not sure clean is the issue for them. It's more
right.
Invasive.
The install process not disrupting the land or hitting any of the irrigation pipes.
And that's where Scott would have to look up, we'd have to see the plans when Scott was explaining that we would have to look at the plans to figure out where those lines are, where those heads are, and then mark them. And what I explained when I met with those two is, as I asked, we need to get an idea. I need to know where they are so that we understand the circumference that we're working with. And that's going to make all the difference in the world. If those lines are, more crowded in, then we may have a problem. If I suspect they're more on the outside, so we're going to have the room. So that's the first thing that I suggested, that we look to see where those plans are. And Scott said, if they're more on the outside, he can turn those heads in the opposite direction, depending on where those lines are and the heads are, so that the water is not going to be right on top of that. So Scott likes the idea, but that's what we have to do, a little bit of our homework to make sure that we can.
And is he getting the plans for you? Is he going to get the plans?
He's not on tonight, is he, Mike?
He is not on tonight. I know he was iffy for this meeting with another commitment. I can follow up with him tomorrow to see where he stands in that process.
Okay.
I will say that based on, in terms of the subcommittee, the fact that for that particular meeting, I was the only one that was able to put eyes on the potential install site, that I'm hesitant to approve that. I'm not against it, but I'm hesitant to make that call on behalf of that subcommittee and on behalf of this commission. I don't think it's super time sensitive in terms of, I think we could certainly investigate doing something. I'll be right there with you, Bob. Doing something later on in the summer or potentially in the fall or something like that. But I don't feel comfortable making the recommendation to go through with an in-ground install here in this meeting. Bob, go ahead.
I am opposed to having it put there because I know two of the people that monument is for. I knew them personally, and I don't want anything distracting from that monument that's there. Art is in the eyes of the beholder, and I don't think it's beautiful at all. That's my opinion, and a few other people have said the same thing. I don't want this on all our property everywhere. They're going to come back and ask for 5 or 6 more places. I'm opposed to this. It distracts from the monument that's there.
To be clear, Bob, you're opposed to either an in-ground install or an above-ground install?
Well, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And that's okay. That's perfectly okay. I wouldn't even want to vote for something tonight anyway if we were to have to look at the plans. This isn't something that you want to jump into. But I do understand where you're coming from because that is sacred ground.
Okay,
Mike.
any other thoughts? Ken, go ahead. Yep. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
thought these were gonna be on the opposite side of the monument, not where the monument is, but on the other side.
Correct.
It's on the other side of the road.
Okay.
So the monument is on sort of that little peak,
Right.
where the
Right.
traffic meets, and this would
on the
be on the
left
other
side.
side of the turnaround there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I understand it still divides the attention of the viewers for that area, and the attention originally was on the 9/11 memorial.
It also distracts drivers.
Any other thoughts from Jane, Sarah, or Doug?
Mike, I was just gonna say I apologize. I couldn't make the meeting. It was in the middle of the work afternoon. But if you wanted, when Scott has the plans, and if we maybe go down with Scott for another visit, and ideally I can make it then, and maybe we just do one more look and then come back, like you said, as a full subcommittee with a recommendation. So I don't know if we need to table it until we can do that, or that might make sense.
Yeah, now that I know exactly where it is. I went by it the other day and I'm going to go down anyway and take a look myself, but
Yeah.
I would like to go with the group.
And I'm happy to meet anyone at the foundation to see the sculpture in person.
Do I have a motion to table this to a further to a later meeting?
I'll make
a motion.
Whatever.
Motion made by Jane, seconded by Doug.
Yep.
Any further discussion? All right, seeing none. Ken,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Vinny,
Yes.
Bob Bernesi,
Yes.
Mike Terrell is a yes. Doug Morash.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Madeline. Thank you as always for being here, and Cheryl, thank you as well.
Thanks. See you all.
We will follow up with you and set up some additional time to talk.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you very
all.
much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, Kathleen Hillman. Welcome, Kathleen. Thanks for being here this evening. I lost track of time. You're here to talk about the fountain in Women's Temperance Park. Go ahead and feel free to talk a little bit about it.
Okay, thank you very much. I am interested in restoring the Women's Temperance Fountain that was originally put up in 1897. This winter, I went over to the park that was over there and I was like, what is this all about? So I went in and I investigated it a little bit and I found out that it was a fountain that had been up for many years. And then when I think part of it broke off, but this is what it looked like originally. I don't know if you can see that. It had a top and a bottom, and this is what remains now. Right now, it's a beautiful little park. It doesn't have any signs as to what that park is. I was surprised that it was the women's temperance movement, and then I wanted to investigate more of it. Many people have said that as a kid, they used to go by there and drink from it. And I would like to restore it to its glory, putting the top back on. I went to the library and she gave me some information. I went to Smith Monument to get an estimate, but I didn't want to do anything until I got approval from this committee to pursue this. So that's why I'm here, to get permission to pursue the restoration of this fountain. It is a very historical area now. And I think with the advent, with the bike trail going in and the restoration of that whole area with the bridges and the new mural that's going to be going up, I think more and more people will be going. And I think we need a little bit more history in this city as to, we have part of it, but not the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Crisati said to me that we should make it a real drinking fountain. I don't know if that's even feasible, but I would just like to pursue this. So I'm asking you to give me permission to pursue this. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathleen. Just to add a little bit of additional information around that. So Kathleen and I have talked back and forth on this. She originally came to our Community Preservation Commission meeting a few weeks back. So her and I have been in pretty close contact. Kathleen, I report that I got confirmation that the top of that fountain is not in the G&E
It's not?
warehouse. I got confirmation on that actually on Saturday.
Okay.
From the gas and electric group. So I think the search continues as far as trying to locate that. I have spoken with Cindy Gaylord, and they are going to take up the topic of making sure that it is considered a historically significant item within the city, which then opens it up to the potential for community preservation funds for the purposes of restoration. So that's underway. They meet later on. I think it's a week from tonight, and that will be on their agenda. So as Kathleen mentioned, she's looking for, I think, a vote of ability to proceed with this project. Obviously, Kathleen, we would ask that you come back once we have plans and we have ideas and we're able to fund it. You know, would obviously invite you back to talk with the commission at a later date. But I think for today, I think we're looking for a motion to approve Kathleen to continue on her quest of working to investigate the feasibility of restoring the fountain in Women's Temperance Park.
I'd also like to get a sign that says Women's Temperance Park too.
Yep. And we can make that part of the overall project.
Okay.
Ken, did you have a
motion to approve and a comment? Kathleen, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I love history, and I just think we don't have any women's information anywhere in the city. You know, there's nothing about women. There's General Shepherd. There's, you know, I think it would be important that I pursued that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Kathleen. So I have a motion to approve by Ken. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Second, I think Sarah got in under the wire in front of Doug there. Any further discussion?
Only that any sign, you know, we kind of already have that in our meeting notes from past meetings, that we have a standard sign. So that's something that Jimmy would be able to help out with, because we've kind of established those guidelines already.
Well, I'm also interested in making one like the biking people have done along the bike trail. So it would be like very similar to the biking ones.
You mean
I agree.
You mean the historical signs?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
They are beautiful.
Very informational.
Yes, and I would like to continue to see more of those.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll make that part of the overall proposal. We'll come back here when we've got some more information. We have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion before it goes to vote? All right, seeing none. Ken McGarrion,
Yes.
Sarah Unger,
Yes.
Jane DeBarbieri,
Yes.
Vinnie Olinsky,
Yes.
Bob Bernesi,
Yes.
Mike Terrell is a yes, and Doug Morash.
Yes.
Thank you, Michael,
Motion
so
passes.
much for
Thank
helping
you,
me with it.
Kathleen. We'll
Thank
talk
you.
soon. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
All right, next item, Frank Sposito. Frank, thank you for your patience. Sticking with us. Kiwanis requesting a banner for WHS graduates' names at Park Square. Go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner Mike, and the commission itself. I'm Frank Sposito from the Westfield Kiwanis. Last year, when the COVID hit, we put a banner up in front of City Hall and kind of struggled staying up with the winds. I believe you all received a photo of it, what it looks like. It's a 4 foot by 12 feet. I'd like to get it on the green so more of the people in the community can see it, preferably the week before graduation, and we'll take it down shortly thereafter. Hopefully we won't have a rain date, otherwise it's going to end up being the following week to come down. It's all I got to say. You're muted, Mike.
I pride myself on not talking on mute. Sorry about that. The one question that came up in chat here from Mr. Morganelli, is there a sign for Westfield Technical Academy, St. Mary's High School?
What's on that sign is actually Westfield High, Westfield Technical Academy, and St. Mary's. I believe, you know.
If is that banner made already? Is there ability for any homeschooled kids to have their names put on that if they?
Actually, there's no names on it, it's just for the schools itself. It says Westfield High.
Oh, I understand.
Westfield, you know, the Technical Academy and St. Mary's. There are no names actually on it.
Understood. Okay.
Didn't we have a sign last year?
That sign was actually on the banner that we had that from that Kiwanis put up was at City Hall, and we couldn't get it anchored well. And I was hoping maybe the green be more visible and a little more stable with the elements.
Where are we?
Signed last year with all the people's names on them.
Last year there were individual placards,
Right.
yeah, that were out on the green.
Right.
Where, Frank, where would this, where would on the green would you propose the sign be?
Well, that was one reason I was coming to you, if you guys would do it. I don't know, you know, maybe you guys could pick a good spot. Like I said, it's 4 feet by 12. I don't know where you have fencing or something it could be attached to. Because I know we don't want to be poking holes in the ground, messing up the irrigation system.
Yeah, so what I would encourage you to do, assuming that this is approved, is reach out to Scott Hathaway, and he could be reached through the Park and Rec department. And I think he, the ideal state would be that he or someone from his group would go down, meet you down there, and kind of talk through the options, whether it be hanging on railings or put in via some sort of posts or something in the ground,
Right.
Whatever that might be. But I would just ask, assuming it's approved, that that you just work through Scott and the Park and Rec group to get that put up. All right. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Jane DeBarbieri with the motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second. Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
Doug will second.
Do I have to abstain if I have a senior?
No, I don't think so. If so, I don't think we could take a vote because I've got two of them. I think Nick does too. No?
What's that?
You have a senior as well, do you not?
No, not this year. No.
Oh, Rafi graduated last year.
Yeah, last year. Yeah, Bella's next year.
All right. All right. Any further discussion?
My only question is, maybe I missed it. Did you say the size of the sign?
Is 4 feet by 12 in the banner.
Okay, and does that, again, we're gonna run into our issues with how big signs can be and how
Yeah.
long they can be up on the green. I think we have that issue again, so I will defer to someone who knows because we're in the downtown area, I know that there's some restrictions.
What's the duration, Frank?
Well, I was hoping maybe to get it up the 29th of May and get it down shortly after graduation, which would be about a week. If we have a rain date, if I have to take it down the 5th of June, so be it.
Okay. I think that's the similar duration to the individual signs that were up there last year as well. Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to be a spoiler, and thanks to the Kiwanis for wanting to recognize our graduates. I think it might be too big based on city ordinances, so just check that out. But that just makes me think of another way to amend that ordinance is to, for certain things to allow a sign to be bigger if it's set a certain distance back from the road so that it doesn't impair traffic. And there's so many different facets of putting out a sign like that. And, I think you can bend the rules, or create rules that it was too restrictive, I think, sometimes with the way these ordinances are written. So I can certainly look at that to see if there's some way we can amend it for next year, so that we can put a giant sign on there for all the graduates. But I'm not sure. It might be too big, but it might be okay, but I'm not sure.
I do not have the sizing of signs. Posting signs.
And I do think it's different for City Hall versus the green. I mean, doesn't City Hall fall outside of?
No, the sign ordinance is general Westfield sign ordinance.
Oh, it is. Okay. I didn't know if it was just the downtown area.
I'm gonna look for it.
We can amend the motion to be sure that whatever sign is posted is within the city ordinance size and dimensions. Certainly, we don't want to approve something that goes against the city ordinance.
And I understand that.
So I'm happy to follow up on the size of the sign that's allowed down there, and follow up with you, Frank, and work with Scott to get that figured out. I think if we could just amend the motion to state that the sign be within the dimensions of as outlined in the city sign ordinance. I think that would be sufficient if folks are comfortable with that.
Is this the same sign that you used last year?
Yes.
Nope.
Yes,
At
it's
City
the same
Hall,
sign
right?
we had in front of City Hall, Vinny. Just we changed the date to 2021.
Okay, so it's the same size.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any further questions or discussion? Okay, seeing none. Ken McGarrion,
Yes.
Sarah Unger,
Yes.
Jane DeBarbieri,
Yes.
Vinnie Olinsky,
Yes.
Bob Vernesi,
Yes.
Mike Terrell is a yes, and Doug Morash.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you very much.
Again, Commissioner, I thank you, and Michael, you know where to get a hold of me.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time, folks.
Of course. Crystal Miller, is Crystal Miller on? I don't see her. Okay. Schedule of bills. Has everybody had a chance to look at the schedule of bills? Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Monthly staff reports. We do not have Jim and we do not have Scott. I have their reports here, which I'm happy to just kind of talk through. Scott Hathaway has some, he's got a line item here, which I'm assuming he wanted to discuss, was pickleball screens. I don't know if Jane, if you have any idea what is happening with the pickleball screens, if you.
I really don't know. I have no idea, except that they probably want to put them up. I mean, they've been down this whole season and they do help with the wind a lot.
Yeah, I know there was some concern about fence damage, right? Based on the screen. So I think they were going back and trying to figure out
Probably
something
right.
that was a little more porous,
More
potentially,
towards the wind,
so
yeah.
that the wind could get through.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, because I don't usually play in the morning when the key people play, so I'm not really sure what's going on. I can find out if you want me to, but Scott will know.
Yeah, we can clarify with Scott. He also has Bullens Field high school graduation, 3rd and 4th, rain date 10th and 11th. That's, I believe, Westfield Technical Academy and Westfield High School. And Cross Street update. Did everybody get a chance to see the pictures that were sent around of Cross Street?
I saw them, yeah.
Really nice. The playground is
Really nice.
really coming along really well, and that the baseball field there looks great. So good progress being made down on Cross Street. From Parks and Recreation, applications closed last Monday for summer staff, and interviews will begin this week. For spring programs, all programs have begun. We have 95 participants in our boys T-ball, and 30 participants in our girls T-ball programs. We also have 16 participants in our Start Smart program on Saturday mornings. In other programs, we have 20 men's, women's, and co-ed adult softball teams for this season. So that is the staff reports for Scott and Jim. And that is the last item on the agenda. Our next board meeting is scheduled for June 14th, 2021. As we spoke earlier, we're going to try to schedule something on 5/24 at 6 p.m. to address the item earlier regarding the flying of the flag on the green. Ken, go ahead.
For our next regular meeting, a new agenda item that we look at rules and regulations by the state, by the city, by our commission concerning public participation. A, time allotment. B, number of speakers.
I second that, Ken.
The time allotment is generally 3 minutes per person.
I know.
And the duration is generally 15 minutes. We did go a bit over the 15 minutes.
I want that on our agenda for next meeting.
Yep, absolutely. All right, any other items for discussion before we adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, made by Bob and seconded by
Hey, anybody.
I'll second it.
Ken
Ken.
Barbieri. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everybody.